Now, I want to remind everybody that before we get going on everything we have here, this is very serious stuff. The Speakout movement has hit the wrestling world like a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. We have all of these wrestlers being accused, some of them obviously wrongfully done, and some of them I believe to be innocent, being accused of all of these accusations, whether it's sexual assault, violence, or just wrongful doings on the wrestler's behalf. And I want to say that before I go into anything, some of you are not going to want to hear this type of stuff. I'm not going to get into too much detail. I'm not going to have any screenshots, anything, but I'm just going to go over a couple of the main wrestlers, some of their situations, what they've been accused of, and just where we go from here. But it's important, again, to wait till evidence comes out for certain things. My condolences go out to everyone that's been affected by this, but we're going to talk about the Speak Out movement right here. This is Nick's World. I am your #1 podcaster. Go nowhere else. Today night, I went on Twitter, and I'm looking, and I see all these wrestlers' names trending, and I'm like, okay, did they do something controversial? I see this person being accused. I don't know who the first person I saw was. Speak Out. That was the movement. That was the hashtag that was trending. So I took a look at it, and it was absolutely terrible. There was a list of about, I swear to God, 50 to 70 wrestlers. Now, a lot of them have been either not talked about or just completely thrown out of the equation since the incident. There's about a solid dozen or so that are being heavily accused, and I believe, honestly, there's a solid portion of them that are guilty. I'm going to go over, I have about 5 or 6 wrestlers here, Jim Cornette included. Now, we all know Jim Cornette. I do urge everybody to subscribe. Thank you so much for the support. Like it, hit the like button. It pushes it out in terms of popularity. Hit the subscribe button, push it out, tell other people about it. Our next subscriber goal is 750, and we're going to try to hit that by the end of the summer. I definitely think we can do it. We are well on our way to 600 subscribers, and obviously 1,000 is the goal by the end of the year. Thank you, everybody, for watching, as always. The first guy that we're going to talk about here is Jimmy Havoc. Now, Jimmy Havoc's situation, from what I read, wasn't as bad as what some other people read. I took notes here. There's no way to not do it without notes. Also, before I begin, I want to give a shout out to Wrestling 2300 Podcast on Twitter. That is wrestling spelled as wrestling 2300 podcast on Twitter. I did tell him I was going to give him a shout out, so I'm going to give him a shout out there. He was lucky subscriber number 500. What does he get? Absolutely nothing, but he gets the satisfaction of being the 500th subscriber. Jimmy Havoc. The first situation I heard was about Jimmy Havoc being at a bar after the show and some guy going up to him telling him great match. Obviously, we are told that Jimmy Havoc was intoxicated, and Jimmy Havoc literally punched him right in the face. Now, we don't know about this, but this is the these are all sources. I didn't take these notes. Jimmy Havoc's ex-girlfriend Rebecca Crow took to Twitter on Thursday to allege that Havoc mentally and emotionally abused her on multiple occasions during their relationship. She wrote that she dated Havoc for nearly 3 years. During that time, Crow said Havoc would scream in her face, verbally abuse her, and attempt to self-harm in front of her. Crow later posted an account provided to her by a woman who said she was raped by Havoc a couple of years ago. Many women came forward on social media Friday and Saturday to share their accounts of abuse they suffered at the hands of male professional wrestlers over the years. Of the wrestlers who are alleged to have engaged in abuse or misconduct, a large number of them began their careers on the British pro wrestling circuit. The 36-year-old Englishman, Havoc, is a 16-year veteran of the wrestling business who competed for promotions all over the world, including Insane Championship Wrestling, Progress, TNA, CZW, and MLW, before signing with AEW in 2019. And the second story here, real quick, is a fan by the name of David Lloyd went on Twitter earlier today to put out his story about AEW's Jimmy Havoc. The fan accused Havoc for punching him in the face for no reason, and progressed for not handling the matter appropriately. I'm gonna switch this here. Now, I got, let's see here. This is 3 pages on Havoc. Okay, yeah. Havoc is a little bit longer one. It says, the fan posted an email from 2014 that he sent to Progress Wrestling. The fan typed out his side of the story in the email he received from Progress. The fan noted that after the show, he approached Havoc and just told him that the match was great. However, what he received in return was a punch in the face by Havoc. And this is David's email. David's email says, hey guys, brilliant show yesterday, my first one, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Went to the World's End afterwards. Great to see all the guys from the show there later as well. However, I saw Jimmy Havoc at the bar, simply said great match to him, and he punched me in the face. As you might have seen, I asked Havoc why he did this last night on Twitter today, and he can't remember the incident. I've called the pub, and they do have CCTV. I'm in 2 minds whether or not to report it to police. To be honest, I'm not happy with the incident, but don't want the headache of going to the Met. I just wanted to make you guys aware of the incident, really put a downer on what was a top show and after beers. Progress response, it also says here, Lloyd received an email from Progress Wrestling regarding the matter. The company said that they are not responsible for the talent after the show. Of course, they don't want to take any blame for it. In all reality, they're not responsible for it, but at the same time, it is Jimmy Havoc. They said that Havoc may have been trying to protect his character and must have had too much to drink. That is, that type of excuse. Protecting his character, I don't understand, but if he also had too much to drink, which I'm assuming was the situation, he was probably having too much to drink. He got lost inside of his character and punched him in the face. Hi, David. Thanks for the email, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show. While I can fully see that being punched in the face by anyone isn't a pleasant experience, as I'm sure you can appreciate once the event is over, Progress is not responsible for the actions of anyone associated with the company as the performer support crew. Talent are not contracted to us in that way. They're independent wrestlers. From your description, it sounds as if Jimmy was trying to protect his character, but had a bit too much to drink. That's not an excuse, merely an observation of how it looks from here. If you want to report it, you are entirely at liberty to do so. I will be calling Jimmy Havoc this evening to find out what happened and where appropriate, and we will take the necessary disciplinary steps. Jimmy Havoc was clearly drunk. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right off the top. Progress's wrestling approach to this, from a company standpoint, we understood it from a company standpoint, but again, they should have been more understanding from a standpoint of Jimmy Havoc did this. Maybe let's give this guy, and again, I don't know if free tickets justifies it, but maybe let's give this guy let's give him, maybe like an autograph of something, or just, again, that doesn't do justice, but just to understand that it's not okay what Jimmy Havoc did. Now, as far as the other female allegations go, there wasn't too much dirt on that. AEW has released claim that they are sending Jimmy Havoc to rehab to rehabilitate his character, or not his character, rehabilitate himself and get the help that he needs. Now, I think personally, well, first of all, if I can tell you Jimmy Havoc, I think he's guilty. And I also think that Jimmy Havoc is one of those guys where he kind of lives out his character in real life. He's very dark, he's very sinister, and I don't want to see, I'm trying to find the right words to put it. I could see Jimmy Havoc being one of those guys where he has a dark past, just based on how his character plays out. It's kind of hard to word that, but I'm glad AEW is sending Jimmy Havoc to rehab, and it's unfortunate for this fan that he had that experience. That is definitely not okay. Jimmy Havoc is being sent to rehab on that behalf, but on behalf of a WWE wrestler who is having more allegations brought up against him, that is Velveteen Dream. Now, Velveteen Dream recently had allegations brought up against him a little bit of a while ago about sending explicit photos to a minor. Independent wrestler Josh Fuller, this is no relation, come out with allegations on WWE NXT star Velveteen Dream, real name Patrick Clark, no relation to me or my brother. Fuller is also backing up allegations made in April where Dream was accused of sending an explicit photo of himself to someone who was under the age of 18. The alleged victim says the photo was also sent to friends aged 15 and 16. Dream later issued a statement denying it. Fuller is alleging that Dream is a groomer and a child predator. He has produced some screenshots that says there are conversations with himself and Dream. We have reached out to WWE for a statement. Any statements from Dream or WWE will be added to this post. Fuller's tweets can be read below. Source Ringside News. The tweets will be something that you can go look up and your desire. I looked at them, and to be honest, the pictures obviously were bleeped out, but from what it looks like, it looks like it would be Velveteen Dream. Now, at first, when it first came out, you give him kind of, I don't want to say you give him slack, but you understand a little bit, just from the standpoint of what, it's one person, and again, every person that comes out and has come out with allegations should be taken absolutely seriously until proven that they cannot be taken serious. Now more people have come out. I think Velveteen Dream, I hate to say it, I think he's guilty. If you see the screenshots and you see it, again, there's always so much you can do with Photoshop. That's not my way of saying he's not guilty, but more people have come out against Velveteen Dream, and it's interesting to see where they go from here. Matt Riddle's another guy that's been accused, but again, Matt Riddle, it seems as I'm going to give him the innocent route. Velveteen Dream looks like he's in hot water here. Again, you can go look up those screenshots and those messages. It does not look good for Velveteen Dream. And Velveteen Dream has a lot of potential at WWE, but again, if more people come out or they find some type of evidence where this is legitimately true, Velveteen Dream's career is dream over. I think he's guilty, honestly. I hate to say it. Just judging by the screenshots and just everything said, I don't know why. You know, I want to be wrong. I want all these guys to be innocent. But there's a couple of more people that have come forward. And it doesn't look so hot for Velveteen Dream going forward. We will talk about a guy, and this is a very dirty man. This is a guy I believe is 100% guilty, because he was literally released from the company, and as of this morning, WWE has no recollection of Jack Gallagher in any of their alumni section. He is nowhere to be found on WWE.com. Gallagher wrestled Jake Atlas in the main event of 205 live in a match that was taped earlier this week, but there's no mention of the match on WWE.com. Gallagher's name also cannot be found in the alumni section of their superstar page, and a blank page comes up if you try to search his name on the website. There's no word on what prompted WWE to make the quick decision to fire him while Velveteen and Matt Riddle are still on the active roster. Gallagher is being accused of assaulting a woman at a party in 2014 after she refused his advances. The woman alleges that Gallagher continued in an aggressive manner and followed her into a restroom, where she alleges that he tore off her clothing. Another woman has come forward with a claim that Gallagher raped her friend. Gallagher was accused of this situation, and within less than 24 hours, he has wiped his name off the walls of WWE history. I honest to God believe that Jake Gallagher kind of confessed. I don't think he's been much of an approach on social media, but I think that Jake Gallagher confessed because WWE literally made the release so quick. What would be really unfortunate is if WWE looked for an excuse to release somebody just to save money during this pandemic. I would hope that that's not the case. I honestly believe Jack Gallagher is guilty. I think that he went up to Vince or whoever and he said that he did it. But then again, if that was the case, the law enforcement would have to get involved at some point. Gallagher got released very quickly and has been erased. So usually when that happens, he probably confessed, because there's other guys that did it too. Matt Riddle, I'll get to him in a minute. I think Matt Riddle's innocent. Velveteen is another guy where he is on the brink right now of this is not looking good. Matt Riddle, I think, is innocent. Gallagher, there's a whole entire story, or not a story, there was something somebody put in notes about Jack Gallagher and his what he was accused of and what the woman said. Again, it's disgraceful. I think Jack Gallagher is guilty. Don't know him personally again, but it's really sick to hear some of these stories. And I can tell you right now that all of these women are not just making this up. This is not a joke. This is not funny. And I believe that Jack Gallagher got released because he had come to some confession, or WWE or someone had found evidence that would provide that this. Matt Riddle made his debut last night on SmackDown in a phenomenal match against AJ Styles, getting the win. So Vince McMahon gets a grade for Matt Riddle's debut. That is an A+. Professional wrestler Candy Cartwright accused Matt Riddle of sexual assault in a series of tweets Friday. Cartwright, a 28-year-old wrestler on the independent circuit, detailed an alleged incident from 2018 in which she and the 34-year-old Riddle were on the road together with other performers. During the van ride, again, if you are young and you don't want to hear these things, I would suggest that you fast forward a little bit. During the van ride, when the three other wrestlers had fallen asleep, Matt asked me to hop on his DICK. Cartwright wrote, "When I refused, although we had previously been together, I was incredibly uncomfortable in that setting. When I said no, he grabbed me by the throat, choked me, and said, 'What if I just made you?' It is never okay to put your hands on a woman. It's also not okay to listen to when she says no. It's also okay to not listen. It's also not okay to not listen." Cartwright said she performed oral sex on Matt Riddle to get out of having intercourse with him. It was incredibly humiliating. It was unclear whether Cartwright reported the incident to police. "I'm posting this because I have been so sad for so long," Cartwright wrote. "I didn't realize that what he did to me was not okay. I realize now, reading these other brave women's stories, that I cannot be afraid anymore, and I have to #SpeakOut." Cartwright's claims against Riddle came as part of the recent Speakout movement on social media, in which numerous female wrestlers have been accused, other performers and executives in the business and across different promotions, of sexual misconduct. Riddle, who has also fought in the UFC, denied the allegations, and WWE is investigating the matter. "The fact that you'd think I'd do something like this makes me sad, bro," Riddle reportedly responded to a fan's inquiry over Twitter. "You don't need to be my fan or friend, but try not to believe every story you hear, especially with no proof." Daniel Rose, an attorney representing Riddle, said in a statement published online that the allegations by the independent female performer are completely false and another attempt to harass Mr. and Mrs. Riddle and try to tarnish their reputation in the community. Riddle's wife since 11, Elisa, responded to a fan's inquiry as well, saying that Cartwright is seriously a psycho-obsessed person, and that the couple nearly got a restraining order against Cartwright last year. Lisa also said Riddle changed the phone number twice last year because of Cartwright, but the screenshot of the message did not contain an explanation. We've been aware for the last 2 years of the performer stalking the Riddle family. In 2019, our firm had drafted a pleading against the performer to seek an injunction for cyber stalking in Circuit Court for Orange County, Florida. Cartwright responded on Twitter with a screenshot of an apparent year-old text from Riddle and said, "Can't wait to see you tonight." It goes on and on. The final waves of Matt Riddle. WWE said in a statement that it takes sexual misconduct allegations very seriously, but the wrestling company still aired Riddle's pre-recorded Friday Night SmackDown debut. WWE has zero tolerance for matters involving domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault. The company said in a statement, upon arrest for such misconduct, a WWE talent will be immediately suspended. Upon conviction for such misconduct, a talent will be immediately terminated. Source, New York Post. From what it seems, this woman has their details, but it seems at the same time that she has harassed Matt Riddle. Again, until more newsworthy or news-like things come out, we have to assume their innocence because there's only two people that know what actually happened. That's the accused, Matt Riddle, and the woman, the accuser herself. If this did happen, Matt Riddle will be erased from WWE as well, and it will be a hopefully he had some education, because it will be quite a while before he finds his way into a wrestling promotion. But I hope that's not true, because the ceiling for Matt Riddle was so damn high, and it would be really unfortunate to see someone like that go. The last story, Jim Cornette. Now, we can all say this right now. We all know Jim Cornette's an asshole. But at the same time, he's one of the smartest minds in professional wrestling history, but he's also an asshole. We knew that, though. Jim Cornette and his wife, Stacy, are the latest to be hit with sexual misconduct allegations stemming from the time at OVW. Independent wrestler Phil Early posted to Twitter on Thursday detailing allegations against Cornette and his wife, Stacy, saying that Cornette's wife, Stacy, who worked in OVW as SYNN, attempted to groom him early in his time in the wrestling business, sending him unasked for lewd photos and attempting to groom him for sexual purposes. Early alleged that Cornette would require talent to perform sexual acts on his wife, many times with him watching. He goes on to say that a close friend was groomed and brainwashed by them for years. When he finally escaped, Stacy went to great lengths not to only terrorize him, but to actively try to have other wrestlers physically assault him. He said that Stacy sent him pictures showing tires of her friends that she slashed and bragged about making sure he lost his job and apartment. He also alleges that he bragged that she could call the Kentucky Wrestling Commission, who would protect them and target people because he was family friend. Early also shared screenshots from Stacy's Cornette backing up the story. Due to a censored nude picture we won't be posting here, but you can check it out. Screenshots and all that are on Facebook and other social media sites. Early's comments led to Mike Braddock, the former OVW heavyweight champion, posting to Twitter to allege that Cornette sent Stacy after me to recruit me. Although he didn't take the bait, Early had retweeted another comment from a user who said he personally watched Jimmy and Sin chase an 18 and 19-year-old hostess at Cheddar's, offering alcohol among other things to get her back to the hot tub. OV alumni Body Guy also backed the allegations. Source, 411 Mania. You know, Jim Cornette's a tricky guy because we hear a lot of stories about him. I think deep down, he may be a good person, but I don't know. I don't know Jim Cornette. And that is why it is very hard and you have to be very careful with these type of things. I don't know if he's innocent or guilty. I really don't. I can tell you this. I'm grateful that all of you watched. I hope everybody continues to approach this situation with caution and be careful what you say online. As always, everybody stay safe as always.